parents, the students. This is teachers, faculty, everyone. And so I'm in this for everyone. I'm in this for students, for parents, for teachers, for faculty. I am here to stand in the way of any more indoctrination of our kids, infiltration of the radical narratives that the hot button topics that we all hear about, CRT, the gender issues, etc. Now, I'm also realizing, being out there and talking to parents and to teachers, that we have schools that have been forgotten, schools that are in disrepair, where complaints have been made to administration and nothing has been done about it, teachers who have been ignored and silenced. And there's many more issues, special education. So I am here to stand up for parental rights, respect medical and religious freedom, and to stand up for the teachers and faculty and those schools that have been forgotten, as well as budget, transparency, accountability, special education, the whole 9 yards. I'm thinking my time is up, so I just wanted to say thank you so much for having me.
That is Kimberly Alameda, who is running for Chesapeake School Board. Thank you so much for sharing your passion with our community. Now we have Jennifer L. Economy.
Hello, everyone. I am Jennifer Economy. I am the mama bear running for school board. A little bit about me. I have a bachelor's degree in administration of justice from Arizona State University, and I have a background in federal law and regulatory enforcement and investigations. You hear a lot of candidates talk about accountability, transparency, and consistency, but do they really know what it means? Well, I have a documented history of being my children's best advocate. I began my campaign as an angry mom, tired of fighting the system on behalf of my own children. But what I've learned since is that many others are tired of fighting the system as well, and no matter what your political views are, many agree that parents have the ultimate control of their child's education and development. My family moved to Chesapeake 9 years ago after my husband retired from the Navy. I have an 18-year-old daughter in community college and twin 16-year-old boys. One is a junior at Great Bridge High School in the JROTC program and wants to join the military. And the other is homeschooled and wants to go to trade school. So I understand that every child is unique and they all take different paths in life. I know that bullying, teen violence, and mental health issues are greatly affecting our children. And I also understand the needs of families who have children with disabilities, as I have 2 children with disabilities myself. And I have been on the front lines fighting for all of these issues for years with my own children. My children were my inspiration for running, and now I'm putting that inspiration into action. I realize we don't get a second chance to raise our kids, which is why I've spoken boldly at many school board meetings. We need responsive elected officials who identify as parents who are their child's best advocate and not the government. If elected, I will participate responsibly. I will do my homework, come prepared, and ask questions. And I'll communicate with everyone as I've done as a prior public servant. We must stop just checking the boxes and focus on the quality and safety of our public education system. I want accountability for those who are not ensuring that children come first in public education, and I'm not one to be intimidated by those who feel otherwise. I want transparency with policies, contracts, the budget, our administration, and our elected officials. And I want consistency among all schools to ensure we are providing the education, resources, safety, and security our staff and students deserve. I want to be the board member representative for our Special Education Advisory Committee, the one to act as a liaison in order to help implement the plans that the committee recommends. And for our minority groups and schools where the achievement gaps have grown the most over the years, I want to make sure we are redeploying the resources where they are needed while not losing focus on serving all children.
Thank you so much for sharing your passion with us at this particular. And our final candidate for part 1 of this particular slate of candidates for Chesapeake School Board is Jared D. Miller. Jared, thank you so much for joining us. Let us know why you want to serve the people of Chesapeake.
All right, how you doing? So 3 minutes, huh? I should be used to this by now. Started speaking at the school
Mr.
board
Miller,
meetings.
you are muted as well.
Yep,
So
yep, yep.
you're muted, so if you can unmute yourself.
Let's try this again.
You got it.
So
Welcome again.
I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you. Like I was saying, you'd figure 3 minutes, I would be kind of used to that, speaking at the school board meetings and whatnot. I started talking at the school board meetings roughly about a year ago over the COVID items, some various hot button topics. That's one reason I decided to run for the school board, is because I felt like everybody was just ignored. First, I thought it was just people who thought like me, had various conservative views and values, but then I realized our local school board wasn't listening to anybody. They didn't listen to the teachers. They didn't listen to the speakers that were coming up. It was kind of just a, nod your head and smile kind of situation. But I'll get to that in a second. Let me give you some background on myself. So I was in the Army for 6 years. Had a good time with that. Definitely wish more and more people would join the military. It's a great career route, and I highly encourage our students that are about ready to move up into the adult world to head that direction. I do have 2 children, one that just left the school system. She graduated from Great Bridge High School this year in June, and my youngest one moved up to Hugo Owens Middle School just recently. So I think one of the biggest topics, like I was just discussing, was nobody's being listened to, especially our educators, especially our parents. I have experience in this. I feel like my voice was ignored, and I know for a fact after having so many conversations over the last, I want to say, how long have I been running now? I think I announced in like January. From all the conversations I've been having, I realize there are a lot more points of view than my own. There are a lot of compromises and common ground to be found with even people who avidly disagree with me. When it comes to the teachers, I have been speaking out against hostile administration. Our teachers are not leaving because they don't have enough pay or their benefits aren't good enough. They're leaving because the work environment is not good. The administration is not being kind to them and is not listening to them. They cannot get answers. When they seem like they sympathize with a parent's position, they are not treated well. I mean, we had several teachers that spoke out at school board meetings about this matter. I'm not a fan of it, and I would like to give the teachers some way of communicating directly with the school board about any kind of topic that they may want to. In the military we had open door policies, and I believe that should exist here as well. When it comes to the schools, I do believe that some schools are treated, quote unquote, more fairly than others, and that's not in any way, shape, or form fair at all. I believe in equal distribution of all our resources across all of our schools. If one school doesn't have enough and another school has too much, well, we need to fix that. It's simple. When it comes to, bullying, when it comes to harassment, we have blanket policies for this, but they need to be fully enforced. Nobody should be treated differently than anybody else. It's that simple. When it comes to school security, being a veteran, this is one of my biggest topics. School security has to be taken seriously, and I don't mean like starting in January or whenever I start. I mean starting now. Our school board needs to actually pay attention to that. And after a couple conversations, I've noticed they are doing some things. Is there?
Thank you so much. I want to thank you again. Like I said, we're on a tight slate, and I thank you so much for sharing your passion with us. Well, for all of the community residents that are watching, these are our first set of candidates for Chesapeake School Board, and they just share with you their passion and the reason why they want to run. Now, we're going to go into a very quick Q&A session. Now, I'm going to ask the question, and then each candidate, you'll have 30 seconds to respond. So this is a firestorm of questions, right? But I want you to really think about your answer and tell us what you really feel about these questions that we're going to ask as relates to the school system, children, the community, and what you will do to make a difference. So the first question is, usually when a candidate comes in, especially on the presidential or executive level, the governor's level, we talk about the first 100 days. What do you want to accomplish in a time period? Well, we know that you're working with a large group of people, so you're just not one person. But I want to ask you, what will you, if elected to the Chesapeake School Board, what will be your top priorities in the first 100 days? Kimberly Alameda, you're up first. And you are muted, so we're going to ask you to unmute, and then you can start off. First 100 days, what are your top priorities?
I said I'm going to steal everyone's thunder, and I know they're going to mention it as well. But myself, Jennifer Economy, Jared Miller, and Blazin Bloom have teamed up for the Chesapeake Pledge, the contract with Chesapeake. In that contract is security, budget, mental health, teacher salaries, education, term limits for school board members of up to 8 years. I know I only have 30 seconds, so go to
All right.
www.chesapeakepledge.com for more
Okay.
information.
First 100 days, your priorities.
All right, so the Chesapeake Pledge was already mentioned. It's www.chesapeakepledge.com. I agree with Kim, Jennifer, Blazin. Those are the topics. We are ready to hit the ground running when it comes to those. As for other topics, I would say rein in the administration, have a full audit of the budget to figure out where the waste is and reallocate funds as necessary, and also a full audit of our school security systems and policies. That way we can ensure that our students are safe and there's no gaps that makes any school an easy target.
Wonderful. Well, our candidates were asked a question about their priorities in the first 100 days. A diverse set of priorities from budget to audit to school safety, mental health, parent involvement, support of faculty and staff, raises, and the like. So when we take a look at budget, because I heard that as a theme for the majority of candidates, and we know that we need money, but we also need money to be spent in the most efficient and effective way. With that being the case, how will you ensure the funds for capital projects are allotted to the neediest schools instead of the wealthiest schools if we want all of our kids to reach their full potential? How will you ensure that? Kimberly Alameda, 30 seconds. Once again, you're muted.
Gosh, I'm so sorry.
No problem.
The way I understand it, we have the money. We just have to allocate it to the appropriate place. South Norfolk, Deep Creek, some other schools that we need to allocate those funds. We need to get the money and allocate it to those schools. They have been forgotten. We don't need a new administration building. We need to hit Deep Creek, Indian River, Crestwood, South Norfolk. We need to hit those schools.
All right, thank you.
Being on the campaign trail since January and having kids in the school system myself, I've heard about a lot of these schools that have been forgotten, and some health factors like the mold and bad water, those cause long-term health effects, and we really need to get in there and find those schools that are the most damaged and repair them. And I agree with Kimberly, we do not need a new school administration building. Those funds should be reallocated, if they can be, into our schools.
Thank you so much.
All right, I would say work with the city council and state legislators when it comes to finding new streams of revenue, but also hiring contractors, hiring professionals to come in and inspect all the systems of all the school buildings and actually physically walk around with these individuals while they're taking notes and pointing things out, taking that information and then making a priorities list of what needs to be hit first in order to improve those schools that need it the most. That'd be where I'd start.
Thank you so much. And also like to thank all of our first slate of candidates for Chesapeake School Board for sharing your time, your talents with us for this very important discussion. I wish you each the best of luck.